When I was about 14 weeks into the pregnancy, I started to bleed. And very quickly, I found myself admitted to the hospital. And I was in for probably about 24 hours when I delivered the baby alone by myself in the hospital bathroom. And I saw my child, my tiny, perfectly formed child. About 2 years passed then after that, I was pregnant again and miscarried that child as well. People tried to say comforting things, but so many times they said things that were just awful. Like, oh, you didn't want that one. Or you can always have another one. And people sort of, I felt, treated me like I had had a slight disappointment. Like I had planned to go on a trip somewhere, but my trip was unexpectedly canceled. And I could go on another.
Abby Victoria was born very early in the morning on July 26, 2010 at McGee Hospital. My wife, Kelly, her pregnancy was quite normal. However, we went to the hospital when Kelly wasn't quite feeling right. Totally expecting to be sent home, as they tell you that happens. Well, they decided to perform a cesarean section, and Abby was born. Long story short, she suffered a stroke in the hours to days before she was born, and her lower brain functions did not perform properly. We made the difficult decision to commit her to a hospice care. As happened, we were there for about a week, and her condition deteriorated, and she died in our arms on August 11, 2010.
After 12 weeks, we found that we were pregnant with twins. In September 26th, we had a D&C, and we lost our twins that day and left the hospital empty-handed. But I kind of gotten to the point where I take time and do my journal and prayer, but I also let myself feel the moment. Before I was stifling it, kind of trying not to be upset about it, and I feel like if it comes, I let myself kind of be present in the moment and feel what I need to feel.
It was very difficult. People didn't talk about it. And my mother had come to help me after the first miscarriage. And I would wake up at night just crying and crying. And it seemed to be the message from everyone around me was, you know what, just be stoic. That's enough. It's time to move on. And I felt like that was probably the same message that she had received from her mother, because my mother had a child that was born at 8 months, and she lived for about 48 hours before she passed away. Her mother had lost twins at 8 months. So it's kind of like a legacy of just be stoic. And that didn't work very well for me.
I consider sharing Abby's story as it's therapeutic for me. Oftentimes when I do, tears roll down my face, as they have been here already, and those tears are special. I make no effort to wipe them away.
And how are you preparing for their due date?
I hasn't sunk in yet, and I haven't really figured out that. I just kind of still going every day, and I know it's coming, but it's a month away, and the spring's coming, and it's kind of stirring inside of me, and I know the winter I want to be over, and all of that's coming, so I haven't figured out yet what I do or how I'm gonna feel, but I feel it's coming.
I do remember making a conscious decision as the reality was setting in for us that I could be bitter and angry. I could be bitter and angry at the people. I could be bitter and angry at God. I could be bitter and angry, and I would have a right to be, for why this is happening to us. But I chose not to. I looked for God, and I found him in the people that were helping us. I found him in our family, and I found him in our friends. I felt the spiritual presence of our extended family and friends and our church family praying. It was a feeling of almost being lifted up in a raft on a sea.
I just had so much grief that I didn't know what to do with. And eventually we went to a counselor, and the counselor gave me a book. And this is the actual book. It's called When a Baby Dies. And that seemed like, to me, the very first time that anyone had acknowledged what actually happened. And it was very powerful for me.
A moment that I kind of gave, not closure, but when a group said maybe you should name Mom, that kind of gave me some hope, but also like it kind of had put significance on it, and that it made more than just, it was an early pregnancy and just tissue, and made it something that seemed that, not to mineralize it, that I had put something to it and given credence.
As far as healing, I have to say that probably really didn't begin until a friend of mine had a miscarriage. And I just, my heart just went out to her. I felt such deep compassion for her. So I got in my car, I bought some flowers, I picked up some food, and I went over to her house, and I just hugged her, and we cried and cried and cried. And I have to say that is probably when it very first began.
Remembering Abby is something I do practically on a daily basis. Whether it's a song or an activity that I'm doing, and I'll just find myself with the memories and the feeling of her overwhelming me. Sometimes I'll cry. And when she was in the hospice care, she wasn't connected to any tubes or wires. So one of the most profound memories I have of that was when they took her to her small room. I was able to pick her up really unencumbered for the first time, and I danced with her around the room.
I wear a necklace every day since it was twins. I just in my gut felt they were a boy and a girl, and my mom helped me find this necklace that I wear every day to remember them. I decided to name the babies Hope and Wish. So I wear this, and I at Christmas got 2 ornaments that say Hope and Wish for their names. And I decided to hang them on Christmas Eve and light a candle for them and have a moment in prayer and meditation. But it can't be hard to get through it and not let yourself feel the moment, and it's okay despite other people or your family or friends that don't understand. Don't stifle yourself and let yourself feel that, and find an outlet like the Still Supportive Group that can help you work through that and give you that tension that you need.
My wife's mother, Mary Lou, Abby's grandmother, knitted a blanket for Abby that was in her crib and with her, and she continues to knit blankets, and she now knits them for the Still Remembered Project. That is there and does a lot of work on behalf of grieving families, and knowing that, even though several years pass by, that a lot of times the grief does remain, perhaps in different forms, but for people to get together, to be able to share versions of the experience, we're just very grateful for that.
It's interesting to me, as soon as one person opens up about what has happened, so many jump in and begin to talk about it. And it makes a big, big difference, I think. So you don't have to be stoic. You really don't. Even if people are telling you to be stoic and to be quiet, and no, you don't have to.
You'll make it through. It may not seem like it. You may feel like you're in a dark hole. That's how I felt, a dark pit that you're never going to get out of. And it's sometimes not getting through every day. It's getting through every hour, every moment. I remember longing for a day that I had more joy in a day than more darkness in a day. And I didn't know when that day was coming. I was just waiting for that. And it will come, even though it does not seem like it's going to. It will come.
That there's a community of moms and dads that want to help them, who have been down very much that same road. And when you interact and connect with some of these people, it really helps to be able to talk to people and express your frustrations and express all of the emotion that is involved.
There's no time limit on your grief. It doesn't exist, because here for me it's been 30 and 31 years. And it can come up just fresh in a heartbeat, just depending on the situation, to expect that to happen. And it's a wound. It'll eventually heal, but it always leaves a scar. When I see a woman who's around 30 or 31 years of age, who has like long strawberry blonde hair, and I wondered, would that have been what they looked like? Because they were people for however short a period of time that they were with me. But yeah, I always remember.